She almost cried talking about it. That kind of stress doesn't just fade, it lives in your body. And when you hear the full story of Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck, you start to understand exactly why. Ben Affleck has been married twice, both times to women named Jennifer. Both marriages ended the exact same way. The first Jennifer gave him 15 years, 3 children, and more second chances than most people would survive. The second Jennifer gave him 2 years before filing for divorce. Different women, different decades, same ending. And Jennifer Garner saw it coming before anyone else did. Because she lived it first. She was the rough draft of a story Ben Affleck would spend his whole life rewriting. At 54, she finally explained what really happened, what Ben did that made staying impossible, and why watching him do it all over again with someone else was the only closure she ever needed. But to understand how she got there, you have to go back to the beginning. Jennifer Garner was never supposed to be famous. She grew up in Houston, and later Charleston, West Virginia. Her father was a chemical engineer. Her mother was a homemaker who taught English on the side. 3 daughters, a modest house, church every Sunday. No makeup until high school. No pierced ears until 16. This was the opposite of a Hollywood childhood. And Jennifer was the middle daughter, the peacemaker, the one who needed everyone to get along. She took ballet from age 3, performed in community theater, dreamed of becoming a dancer. Her mother once said that Jennifer was the kind of child who would cry if she thought she had disappointed you. Not because she was in trouble. Because she had let someone down. Remember that. Because that instinct, that bone-deep need to hold things together, to not give up on people, would define the most painful decade of her life. She left West Virginia at 18, transferred schools, moved to New York, then Los Angeles. She was not an overnight success. She waited tables. She auditioned constantly. She failed more than she succeeded. And in 2000, she married actor Scott Foley, someone she had met on a TV set. It was quiet, sweet, no drama. It seemed like it would last. It didn't last. By 2003, they were divorced. Jennifer never explained why. All she said was that they had grown apart, that they were too young. Nobody's fault. And that same year, the year her first marriage ended, everything else in her life changed. In 2003, Jennifer Garner was cast opposite Ben Affleck in Daredevil. She played a deadly assassin. He played a blind superhero. The movie was not good. Critics hated it. Audiences shrugged. But something happened on that set that neither of them could ignore. Here's the thing though, Ben Affleck was not available. He was engaged to Jennifer Lopez. Bennifer, the tabloids called them. The most photographed couple in the world. And here was Jennifer Garner, quiet and recently divorced, watching from the sidelines. They didn't start dating during that film. She has been very clear about that. But something was planted. Some seed neither of them forgot. When Ben and J-Lo broke off their engagement in January 2004, it made headlines everywhere. When Ben and Jennifer Garner were spotted together 6 months later, the headlines were softer. People liked them together. She seemed like exactly what he needed. Stable. Grounded. A good influence. She probably thought that too. But Jennifer was not naive. She had watched the Bennifer circus from inside the tent. She had seen how fame could consume a person. She had seen Ben at his most overwhelmed, most hunted, most exhausted. And she had her own reservations. She was 32 years old. She had just been through a divorce. She knew what it felt like to build a life with someone and watch it fall apart. She was not eager to do that again. But Ben was persistent. Charming in the way that Ben Affleck can be charming when his attention is focused on you. And eventually, she said yes. The values Jennifer Garner brought into that relationship didn't come from Hollywood. They came from a house in West Virginia. From parents who stayed together for decades. From Sunday church services and family dinners and the unspoken understanding that when you make a promise, you keep it. She once said her parents' marriage was the model she was trying to follow. That marriage was forever, that you work through problems, that you don't give up just because things get hard. That belief system would carry her through 15 years with Ben Affleck. It would also nearly break her. On June 29, 2005, Jennifer Garner married Ben Affleck in a private ceremony in Turks and Caicos. She was already pregnant. The wedding was tiny, just the two of them, an officiant, and Victor Garber, her longtime friend and co-star from Alias, as their witness. No magazine deals. No helicopters circling for the shot. Just two people making promises to each other on a beach. That was Jennifer's doing. She wanted a real life, not a performance. 3 months later, their daughter Violet was born. 2 years after that came Serafina. And in 2012, their son Samuel. By all appearances, they had built exactly what Jennifer had always wanted. A big house in Pacific Palisades. 3 healthy children. A husband who was sober, working, present. But appearances are not the same as reality. And the cracks were there from the beginning, if you knew where to look. Ben Affleck had struggled with alcohol for years before he met Jennifer. He had been to rehab before their wedding. He would go again after. Sobriety for him was not a straight line. It was a constant negotiation, a daily battle that some days he won and some days he lost. Jennifer knew this when she married him. She accepted it. She believed that love and stability and a good home could help keep him on the right path. For a while, it seemed like she was right. But there were other problems. Problems that had nothing to do with alcohol. Ben Affleck is a man who needs attention. Not just any attention, constant attention. The kind of validation that fills a room when he walks in. Jennifer, by contrast, wanted quiet mornings and school drop-offs and PDA meetings. She wanted a life that looked nothing like Hollywood. These two people loved each other, but they wanted very different things from that love. And then there were the rumors. Whispers about other women. About late nights that couldn't be explained. About a pattern Jennifer chose not to see, because seeing it would mean accepting something she wasn't ready to accept. She stayed focused on the children. On the house. On holding everything together. That was her job. It had always been her job. The middle daughter who couldn't stand to let anyone down. By 2015, the marriage was falling apart. They announced their separation in June, one day after their 10th wedding anniversary. One day. And then the other shoe dropped. Within weeks, tabloids were running stories about the nanny. Photographs of her and Ben together, smiling, comfortable, too comfortable. The scandal exploded across every magazine cover in America. Jennifer Garner, the devoted mother, the woman who had stepped back from her own career to raise Ben Affleck's children, was now being publicly humiliated by the woman she had hired to help care for those children. Imagine opening a magazine and seeing that. Knowing your friends are seeing it. Knowing your children will eventually see it. Knowing the whole world is watching your marriage die in real time. Neither of them ever confirmed the affair. But the damage was done. The trust was gone. The divorce should have happened in 2015. Everyone expected it. But Jennifer didn't file. She waited. She gave him another chance, then another. She sat through the 2017 rehab stint. She watched him promise to do better. To be better. To become the man she had always believed he could be. And then in December 2021, Ben Affleck gave an interview to Howard Stern that broke something in the public understanding of their marriage. He said he had felt trapped. He said that if they hadn't had children together, he would have left sooner. He said that staying in the marriage had contributed to his drinking. Read that again. He blamed her. He blamed their children. He blamed the family she had built, for him, around him, to try to save him. When asked about the interview later, Jennifer said she hadn't listened to it. That someone had told her about it. That her jaw had dropped. 13 years of marriage. 3 children. Countless second chances and third chances. And his public takeaway was that he had felt trapped. There is a quote from Jennifer Garner's 2016 Vanity Fair interview that tells you everything. She said of Ben, "When his sun shines on you, you feel it. But when the sun is shining elsewhere, it is cold." She stayed warm in that sun for as long as she could. But the sun kept moving. It shone on his career, on his poker games and his late nights, and eventually on other women. And Jennifer was left in the cold, holding everything together, waiting for him to turn back around. She knew before the photographers caught him with the nanny. She probably knew before he admitted it to himself. And the realization she eventually reached wasn't about revenge. It was clarity. She could not make him stay. She could not love him into becoming someone he was not capable of being. Some men don't leave. They just stop showing up. Jennifer Garner filed for divorce in April 2017. Even then, she wasn't cruel about it. She asked for joint custody. She didn't drag his name through the courts the way she had every right to do. And here is the part that still surprises people. Even after the divorce was finalized, Even after he started dating other women, even after the Howard Stern interview, Jennifer Garner kept showing up for Ben Affleck. She drove him to rehab in 2018. She staged the intervention. She co-parentied with Grace, even when Grace was the last thing he deserved. Because she wasn't protecting Ben Affleck anymore. She was protecting Violet and Serafina and Samuel. She was protecting her children from ever having to choose between their parents, from ever having to carry the weight of their father's failures. That is not weakness. That is a kind of strength most people will never fully understand. And then came the part that confirmed everything Jennifer Garner had already suspected. In 2021, Ben Affleck got back together with Jennifer Lopez. The circus came back to town. They got engaged. They got married. They did magazine covers and red carpets and all the things that come with being the most famous couple in the world. Jennifer Garner watched it all from the sidelines. She said nothing. She kept picking up her kids from school, kept showing up to soccer games, kept living the quiet life she had always wanted. And then in August 2024, Jennifer Lopez filed for divorce from Ben Affleck. 2 years. That is how long the second Bennifer lasted. 2 years of sun and spectacle. And then it was over. The woman Ben Affleck had left Jennifer Garner's quiet life to be with walked away from him for the same reasons Jennifer had walked away. He could not show up. He could not stay. The sun kept moving. Today, Jennifer Garner is 54 years old. She has a successful production company. She runs a baby food brand called Once Upon a Farm. She acts when she wants to. She disappears when she wants to. She dates quietly, privately, on her own terms. Her children are growing up healthy and happy. Violet is in college, Serafina is a teenager, Samuel is old enough to have strong opinions about everything. And Jennifer Garner has never once said a bad word about their father. Not when he blamed their marriage for his drinking. Not when he remarried. Not when that second marriage collapsed the same way the first one did. She didn't need to say anything. His choices have been saying it for her all along. In a recent interview, she was asked about co-parenting. She said that time is the opportunity to let things get better. That bitterness doesn't serve anyone. That her only job is to make sure her children know they are loved. She spent 15 years trying to hold together a man who could not hold himself together. She gave him her best years, her energy, her belief that love could change people. And when it became clear that it couldn't, she let go. Not with anger. With acceptance. Jennifer Garner never tried to be the sun in Ben Affleck's life. She just wanted to be his home, the place he came back to, the steady warmth that was always there when the spotlight faded. But Ben Affleck didn't want a home. He wanted an audience. And now at 54, Jennifer Garner has stopped waiting for him to come back. She has stopped waiting for the sun to shine her way. She built her own warmth instead. 3 children, 2 marriages, and a trail of headlines later, she didn't just survive the most public heartbreak in Hollywood. She walked through it with grace, rebuilt herself on the other side, and came out telling the truth in the quietest possible way. She never had to say a word against him. His own choices have been saying it for her all along.